guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I have a very special guest. Her name is Xtina. She's a Dominican American, and she's here to share her experience with us. So hi, Xtina.
Hi.
Introduce yourself, but let us know where are you from.
So I'm Xtina. Like you said, I am a Dominican American. I was born here in the US and I live in Northern Virginia. So I live in a part of VA that's called, well, it's considered part of the DMV, meaning DC, Maryland, Virginia. So this is basically like the DC metropolitan area. And yeah, I've basically grown up here my entire life.
Virginia. That is something new. Most of the time you hear Dominican from like New York, Boston.
Yeah.
And how was your experience growing up as a Dominican in Virginia?
So my experience growing up in this area, I'm sure it was very different, compared to other Dominicans that either, grew up in New York, New Jersey, Boston, all those areas. This area, although it is very diverse, and, there is a large Hispanic population, the Hispanics here are mainly Central American. This is like it's Salvador over here. So there's a lot of Salvadorians. We also have, Mexicans, Guatemalans, and then like South Americans, like Peruvians and Bolivians. So there wasn't a lot of Dominicans in this area. And much less, darker skinned Hispanics like me. So growing up, my experience it was weird because I always felt like I was kind of like in this middle gray area because, the other Hispanic kids, most of the time they didn't even know I was Hispanic or that I spoke Spanish. Most of the time, they assumed I was African American. So, I never quite fit in with most of the Spanish kids. And then, because of that, I just kind of gravitated towards having more Black friends. But, at the same time, it was cool. Like, I was able to share my Dominican culture with my friends and, my girlfriends, they dance merengue bachata just like any Dominican, So it was cool. Like, my friends have come up around me and my family and, they come to all our parties and stuff. So, in that sense, there was good and bad to it.
All right. And where your parents are from in the Dominican Republic?
They were both born in a campo right outside of Bonao. So it's still considered part of Bonao, but yeah, that's where they grew up. My mom, she lived in the campo till like her teenage years. Then she moved to the main like Pueblo Bonao. And yeah, she stayed there pretty much until she was an adult. My father, however, his family moved to the capital, to Santo Domingo, when he was, I think, like an adolescent. So he spent most of his like teenage and young adult years in Santo Domingo.
All right, very interesting. And your parents were born were your parents born here in the United States or they migrated? And if they did, what was the reason they came to United States?
Yeah, so like I said, they were born there. I would say the primary reason they came was probably just economic reasons and, just wanting to, seek better opportunities and stuff. They both came from pretty, humble beginnings and stuff. So I'm sure they were just trying to, seek more opportunities and like a better future. So yeah, actually, the way they both came here was they both married other people to come into the country, which I know is illegal. So, but my dad, I don't know how he found this woman, but he married this white lady. She, brought him over here. They were married for like a year or so. And then he paid one of his good friends that was already here to marry my mom. And that is how he brought my mom over. So they were married to their people for like a year. They got divorced. And then after that, they both got married. And that is how life here started.
So they made their business on the side to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And besides your parents and relatives, how do you get in touch with other Dominicans, or how often do you go to Dominican Republic?
Yeah, so I've been traveling to DR pretty much my whole life. That's one of the ways I've always been able to, maintain that part of my culture alive, I guess you could say. When I was young, we would always go during like, summer break, when we were out of school. There were a few times I went during winter break. Now the longest span I went without going was 8 years. That was around like 21 to 29, around that age. It was a very long time. I had never gone that long without going. But since then, I've been going like every year and a half. And I did just buy my tickets to go to DR in December, even though they were like $800. Oh my goodness. And I'm only going for like 8 days. So anyway, I mean, I'm just happy I'm going.
Oh, that's the helpful part. That you were spending that money, you're just going for 8 days.
I have never spent that much to go to DR, but the tickets were crazy high this year. I don't know why. That was the cheapest I could get it. So yeah. So I
tried to go buy early, and it was still that expensive. Well,
yeah.
I'll be there in December, so I hope that we're gonna do some.
Yes, we should definitely collab over there. That would be awesome. So yeah, I mean, I try to go at least once every year and a half now.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's what I used to do. Now I'm trying to go more often and spend some more time here, like some time here and there. That's gonna be great. And how old were you when you went to Dominican Republic the first time?
So according to my parents, I was 6 months old the first time they took me. I think my mom said that they baptized me over there. My parents aren't Catholic. I mean, we're Christian, but they're not Catholic. But I think, baptizing your kid is just so much a part of Dominican culture anyway. So I do have some godparents in DR. So I was a baby. Yeah, I've been going since the very beginning.
All right. So, Christina, visiting the DR as a child, did you notice any cultural difference between Dominican Republic and US?
Yes. So traveling as a child, I would say the most noticeable difference I saw between like the US and DR was like the difference in like development coming from, a country that's very developed like the US to a country that's still was pretty underdeveloped in some areas. Like, traveling from here and then traveling to the Campo in DR, it's like totally different world, so like the poverty in some areas, it was very noticeable to me as a kid. Especially when we would stay in the Campo, because I remember they still had dirt roads everywhere up until like 10 years ago. They still don't have running water in that area. And we would have to, take showers with buckets and, use a vacinilla in the middle of the night and sleep with a mosquitero, all that type of stuff. So, I would say that was probably like the biggest difference I saw. And even just noticing like when I was with like the other kids, like you could tell they were poor, So yeah, I would say that was the most notable difference. But at the same time, one thing that I will say that I always noticed is that even though these people were so poor, most of them seemed happy. Even though, they didn't have a lot of material possessions, but they just always had a smile on their face, things like that. And I think that helped me to just be humble. Like I feel like that really humbled me in a lot of ways. And just knowing that like this was my parents' upbringing, like this is where they came from. This is how they grew up, or at least as like little kids. So I don't know. I think that like experiencing that, especially from such a young age, it can kind of help you to appreciate your roots and where your family comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that I can see. I can see people that most people are poor or don't have a lot of things, but they seem to be like more happy. You go houses where people don't have a lot, probably don't have even a lot of money to eat, but you go to their house, they're just so happy. They just welcome to their house. They welcome you to their house, and they just seem to be so happy, always smiling. And here you see sometimes people that have so much, but they always are so depressed or some problem. There is something that you sometimes can't understand, but
Yeah.
I don't know, some difference. But yeah, I noticed that too. Being accustomed to the US culture, what are some of the challenges that you encounter when you go to the DR?
Some of the challenges, well, one of the challenges I would say is definitely the cold water. As many times as I've gone back, I cannot get used to taking cold showers. I just can't. Even though it's like blazing hot outside, it's a struggle. So that's one thing. Luckily though, in my parents' house over there, my mom got an attachment in one of the showers where it heats the water as it's coming down. So at least that allows me to have a lukewarm shower. But before that, I was boiling pots of water and mixing it with the cold water and all that. So that's one thing I just can't get used to. The other thing, it's not as bad now, but I remember when I was younger and I would go, the power outages, that it was pretty bad. Because back then, most of my family members, they didn't have generators. And yeah, that would be a struggle because, you couldn't use the fans, we'd be out there just getting tore up by those mosquitoes.
Oh my God,
It
yes,
was,
the
it
mosquito.
was bad. Yeah, but luckily that's a lot better now. And most houses, I think these days do have a generator or some, even if it's like a small one for their house. And then the other thing, well, I guess it's more of an issue now. Well, it can be an issue, but it can't be an issue. It's just the lack of internet everywhere because here I feel like you're so used to just being connected at all times. Whereas when I go over there, depending on where I go, I don't always have access to the internet. So it's kind of like having to readjust, to, being off of social media and all that stuff. So it's like, unless I go to a family member's house that has Wi-Fi or I buy one of those little hotspot things, I don't know what they're called. Yeah, I'm just not connected to the internet. So those are just 3 first world problems, Yeah, some of the differences that I encounter when I go.
Okay. Yeah, I see the power is not that bad like it used to. I mean, it's better, but it's still the power is still going off and on. Something that is just I don't understand it, but it's
Yeah.
still that the cold water. I'm with you on that one. I mean, I can do the cold water. Either I do it, but I do it like in the middle of the day. Have you taken one of the shower like late at night or very early in the morning? Oh my God, they are really, really cold. They
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I do
Mm-hmm.
heat the water too in the stove when I go over there sometimes. So that's something that is you need to get used to. Instead, when you visit the DR, do your family members or friends treat you any different from other people that are around when you're there?
Yes, they do. Um, I I don't know if it's just because, we're visita, we're, visiting and stuff like that, or because, we're American. I think it can be a combination of both. But yeah, I mean, I've always noticed they definitely give us like special treatment, me and my sister, when we were there. They'd give us like the best beds in the house and, the best like drinks or whatever it was. They always like go out of their way to make sure we're comfortable and all that type of stuff. But I think that's just part of Dominican culture anyway, like that hospitality. A lot of them are like that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I noticed this type of difference. Why? I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, they would treat us a little better.
Yeah, I feel the same way too. When I go over there, my mom in my house or my grandmother, you treat me different. But I think it's because they know that you're there for a short time. They just want you to feel comfortable. Even with people that are not family, they will do the same thing. I think that's just a Dominican thing that they do that with people that are visiting.
Right.
They just real and nice.
Yeah.
And when you go to Dominican Republic, what is the city that you mainly visit when you're there?
So I usually rotate between 2 places, which are Bonao and Santo Domingo. So my dad's side of the family, well, the ones that are still in DR, they're mainly all in Santo Domingo, and my grandfather lives there. And then in Bonao is more where like my mom's side of the family is, and that's where my family's house is. So yeah, when we go, we usually stay in Bonao, and then we'll stay a few days in Santo Domingo. So I would like though to be able to visit other areas, because I feel like when I go, I don't go out of Santo Domingo or Bonao. Now, in the past, I have gone to a few resorts and other places. Like I remember we went to one in Puerto Plata. I went to Samaná once. I went to one in Punta Cana, but besides that, oh, and I visited Santiago once for like half a day. But yeah, that was it. So I'd like to venture out more, and visit some new areas instead of the same things every time.
Yeah, I think that's a Dominican, I don't know, Dominican thing. That usually with you Dominican, you don't visit a lot of different cities. You just stay between the places that your family or you
Yeah.
are from, and you just go there. You just don't go out to visit different cities.
Yeah.
But that's something that I'm trying to change. I want to know the whole Dominican Republic.
Right. Yeah.
And in your opinion, is there any difference in a Dominican woman born in Dominican Republic and one born in the United States?
Yes. From what I have noticed growing up, and just, from all my female relatives that were like born and raised in DR that have come here, I would say this is like generally speaking, I think the native born Dominican women are definitely more traditional. I think a lot of them, they just kind of easily go into like the traditional gender roles, like, being stay-at-home moms, just tending to the house, cooking for everyone all day, those type of things. And but I have also kind of noticed, though, it also depends where in DR they live. I think the women in the campo are the most traditional, and then the ones in the city, you see they're a little more independent, I would say. And definitely the women in DR, they pay a lot of attention to their appearance. That is one thing. Like over there, going to the salon, that is like weekly. Over there you see the women walking around, with the tacones and their nice clothes, even to go to the grocery store, or like when they get their hair done, they'll keep it in a tubi all day. Like they don't risk it getting sweaty or their hair messing up. They take
Ain't no rest. I mean, you need to keep it right all the time.
Or like comparona in that way, but not in a bad way, So yeah, whereas I mean here in the US, it's like nobody gives a crap what you do or what you wear, And I think the Dominican American women born here, including myself, we are a bit more independent. I'll say that. Yeah. But yeah, I think those are the main differences that I've noticed between the Dominican women, like the native born Dominican versus the ones born here.
Okay. And I'm curious about your Spanish. How is your Spanish from 1 to 10?
I would say it's like an 8.5 maybe. I'm fluent in Spanish. I am fluent. I do also know how to read and write. Where I get kind of messed up is like, well, when it comes to the grammar, like sometimes when it comes to conjugating verbs, I have to like think about it for a second. Or when it comes to writing the accents on the words, like my knowledge of that is very limited. But yeah, I mean, I can have a fluent conversation with anyone. Growing up though, my parents, they would speak to me in Spanish, but I would always respond in English. From what they've told me, Spanish was actually my first language, but once I started school, that's when, I started speaking more English. So I do feel more comfortable speaking English, like it just flows out easier, but I can easily have a conversation in Spanish. Like it's not an issue for me.
Okay, that was my next question, to see if you part with the one they tried to keep you for you to know Spanish.
Yes. That, and I also had like so many family members that came to this area, and we like my house was like the first pit stop for all my family that came from DR. So we've had literally all of our family members live with us at some point. So always being around all those Spanish speakers also helped me to keep up with my Spanish.
Okay, that's good. And well, I'm gonna go back to the previous question because I should ask this before. Do you any negative opinion that you have in women that born in the Dominican Republic versus one in here in the United States? Because everything that you said was kind of the cool thing the Dominican women do over there. But do you see anything negative in the difference?
That is a good question. Anything negative? I'm trying to think. I mean, they can be really chismosa sometimes. But, I mean, I think a lot of Hispanic women are like that. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, but they can be very chismosa. I don't think they do have a lot of time over there. They be...
Yeah. They can be chismosa / a little judgmental at times. I'll say that. They can be a little judgmental. And yeah, like they will judge you if you don't know how to like cook after a certain age or certain things. And they're like, how do you expect to find a husband if you don't learn how to
you don't know how to cook?
Nobody's gonna want you.
What, Christina? That's a good point. They learn how to cook.
So yeah.
Okay. And I was watching one video one time, and I hear you saying that you don't like Presidente. Tell me about that. How is it that a Dominican person don't like Presidente?
Okay. I hope I don't lose my Dominican card because of this. Okay, so it's not that I personally have anything against Presidente. I just don't like beer. I am not a beer person. I have never liked the taste of beer. I don't like the bitterness of it. The only beer I can kind of pass is Angry Orchard because it's kind of more like a cider, but I just can't do it. I don't know. I don't like beer, so Presidente gets included in that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do beer. I'm more of a cocktail, wine cooler type of girl.
Okay, so you just don't like beer. Okay, I guess that is understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, and this question is about, would you date in the Dominican Republic, and what do you think about Dominican men?
Lord, okay, so I have dated Dominican men here in the US before, and then I did try the long distance thing once. So Dominican men, okay. So you can't live with them, you can't live without them type of thing. One, they're demasiado mujeriego. Like and not to generalize all Dominican men because not all are this way, but a lot are some straight up players, okay? And this is something I witnessed within my own family, within the old heads in my family. These old men, 60 plus years, they have their wives they've been with for like 30, 40 years, and they have their side chicks and their side families. And I'm just like, bruh, how? 65 years old with side chicks, So I don't know. That is the only thing I would say kind of like, I don't know, puts a little bit of a stop there for me sometimes. But besides that, I do feel that Dominican men are very attentive. They're very like romantic, they like to give a lot of compliments and like sweet talk, and I think they're very hardworking. Most of them are family men. So, they definitely have their good qualities. If they could just chill with the multiple women and stuff, they'd be golden. But yeah, that's my opinion on them basically.
Yes, I understand that. Yeah, but I understand that about me being with with different families over there because I have example in my own family too. Like my grandfather, he used to have 5 wives. He had 5, and he had one in each house. He used to go every night to have dinner in different houses with family and everything. He had kids. He had like 7. One had like 7 kids, another 11. It was just every night. He just used to go. have dinner in the house, and then sleep in the house. He will do that in different house every night. Everybody was okay with it. Everybody knew about it. And my father too. My father, he have like, I have like 11, 12 different brothers and sisters that I haven't even met yet. No person. I mean, I know about them, but I haven't even met them. So yeah, I know. I know how some of them are. They are not all the same, but
yeah,
a
lot of them though.
A lot of them, yeah. And what are your thoughts about those videos that talk about negative about Dominican women? They say a lot of Dominican women are chapeadora, or there is no Dominican women over there.
Well, I did make one video about chapeadoras on my channel, but you know, when I see all these different other channels talking about it and like labeling, you know, and generalizing Dominican women as all being this type of way, you know, it bothers me because it's like not all Dominican women are this way, you know. The majority of the women in my family, the majority of the Dominican women that I know are like, you know, respectable women. They're not out here chapeando, or they're not hookers and all of this. And it just bothers me that people choose to put the spotlight on these particular women that are doing that, and then try to say that all Dominican women are this way when clearly we're not. You know, I feel like Dominican women in general have a lot of values that they go by. And yes, there are the few that are more loose or whatever, or they resort to prostitution and stuff like that. But again, this is like a select number of them. Not all are this way. So I don't know, that's one subject I don't like to touch too much on. You know, somebody said to me, well, why don't you talk about the sex tourism going on in DR? And I'm like, why? Because that puts a negative spotlight on Dominican women, you know, and I don't want to bring that type of negative attention to us, you know. So I'd rather just not really touch that subject. But I just don't like the generalization that goes on with it. Like, we're not all that way, you know.
Yeah, that's the part that I don't like, because I know that is some women, they do what they do, they have to do what they like to do, and no judgment, but don't put all in the same category.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, and those people, they are making those videos because they go there for that, and then they just decide to make their point across. Okay, unfortunately. And what would you say, or what would you recommend to those guys that probably they would like to have a Dominican woman, but they see this negative coming, and they probably are thinking maybe yes, maybe no. What is your suggestion?
Well, for one, don't look for love in Sosua and Boca Chica, okay? Don't go looking for love in these places that are known to be areas that, you know, are full of hookers and stuff like that. That's one thing. But I feel like just like with any area that you're in or any area that you go to, I feel like you just need to have, you know, a set of standards or things that you're looking for in a woman. And I think anyone could find a good wife in DR. I think, you know, that's something most Dominican women, or a lot of them, are already kind of mentally prepared for. Like, you're groomed to be a wife growing up. So I don't think finding a good woman should be an issue at all. Like I said, you just have to know what to look for, and, you know, what red flags to look for. You know, if you come across, or, you know, start to form a relationship with a woman and she's constantly asking you for money, then that should be like a red flag, you know. So you just have to be careful. Yeah, I mean, but I think anybody could find a good partner in DR. There's no shortage of good women over there.
Very good point. And what did you thought about those, now talking about in general about the Dominican Republic, those negative, I say, videos or red flags about the Dominican Republic, about what was going on a couple months ago with those this incident?
Yeah. So that was crazy. I did make a few videos about this on my channel, and, you know, when the first the news first started like coming out, I was kind of like, whoa, what is going on? Because it was literally like one incident after another, you know? And I mean, it was like to the point where like my friends were messaging me like, yo, what's going on in DR? Did you hear about this person, about that person, blah, blah, blah. So it was crazy. So I mean, as more details started to come out though, and you know, different scenarios, you know, started to, you know, be brought to the public. Like for example, you know, people were starting to say that, you know, tainted alcohol could have been part of the issue, pesticides could have been part of the issue, things like that. Then I was like, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. But when I started looking at actual numbers, I realized that the number of tourist deaths in DR really hasn't gone up. The only difference is that they were now being publicized for whatever reason. So to an extent, I do think there was some type of smear campaign going on. I don't know why exactly. I heard China might have something to do with it because of the relationship DR has with China now. So this was kind of like the US retaliating. I don't know, you know, conspiracies and all that. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of that was true. Because in reality, DR is not any more dangerous than it was. And if anything, the amount of deaths have gone down over the years. So, and it is one of the more safer tourist destinations in the Caribbean. So I was like, wow, it was pretty crazy though. But I'm just glad that died down, you know?
That, yeah, I'll go for a minute. And yeah, I think so too. They have to like they have a kind of campaign against the tourists or the Dominican Republic or something going on because that wasn't normal. And then I saw well not in the news because I didn't see this in the news, but I saw it online. I don't really remember, but like 17 tourists died in Costa Rica because of an alcohol issue. Yeah, I didn't see all over the news just saying that 17 tourists is just in the same, I think it was in the same week. Yeah. I
Wow.
didn't hear anybody saying nothing about
No
that.
news about that.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Okay, what is one thing that you have to do always when you go to the DR, when you visit there?
The beach, of course, the beach. Yeah, the beaches around here in Virginia and in Maryland suck. The water is cold. It takes like 3 hours to get there, and it's just I'm always like hesitant to
Three
even get
hours?
so cold. Yeah, the beaches are 3 hours from me, whether I go to Maryland or the Virginia beach. Yeah, but over there, that's like it's like something so simple, but I always look forward to warm beach water. Like that to me is like yes, I love it. I love it. That and the food, you know, the fruits that are over there, you know, the natural fruit juices, you know, the fritura, you know, even though my family always tells me to be careful eating the fritura from certain places. But you know, just the little things like that. Even stuff like riding in the back of a pickup truck, because you know here you can't do that. I think it might be illegal here, but even that, like riding on the back of a truck, you know, al aire libre. Like I look forward to stuff like that. So yeah, those are like the type of things I enjoy while I'm over there.
Yeah, the pickup truck. You go there, I mean, when you go, especially if you go like to the river or the beach, like everybody jump on the back of on the back of the truck and
Yeah.
go. What is one cultural thing that you cannot get used to?
One cultural thing. Um. Huh. Uh. I don't know. One thing, I don't know if I would say I couldn't get used to this, but one thing that I'm always kind of like a little weird about is because when you go out, usually the men are expected to pay for everything. And here, I don't know, I guess I've just kind of got used to like if I go out in a group, either we all pay for our own stuff or we like split it between the girls and the guys. So I always feel kind of weird, like,
Oh my God! Yeah, don't even let me
yeah,
start with that.
I feel like I should be paying for myself, you know? So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's a bad thing per se. I mean, I guess any woman could get used to a guy always paying for stuff. But for me, I always find that kind of weird. Like, I feel like I should be paying for my own stuff, you know? But I mean, I don't know. It's not like anything terrible, but that is one thing that I experience when I go over there.
Yeah, yeah. That's most of the time guys are expecting to do. A lot over there, or most of the thing, more than enough.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you will take a piece of Dominican Republic and bring it to your daily life here in the US, what would that be?
I would say, if I could bring a piece of Dominican culture, I think just the way people are with each other. Like I feel like people are a lot more open with each other. Like neighbors actually talk to each other. People are always out and about. And at least where I live, like you don't really see that a whole lot. Like my neighbors, we barely speak to each other. You rarely see people outside, maybe the kids sometimes, but everybody's very like secluded and in their own little bubbles. So, I do sometimes feel like, it would be nice to see more of that friendly environment that you see in DR over here. Again, like between neighbors or between people in general, like people here are very much to themselves. And not to say you want somebody in your face all the time either, but just that general openness that people have with each other would be nice to see that here.
Yeah, yeah, that would be nice. Like, yeah, here you live and you don't even know your own neighbor. You see probably something happen to your neighbor on the street, you don't even know them. That's something else is very different here from over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that, like you say, not that you don't want to see somebody in your face every day because there that can happen too. Over
I've
there we
seen
have
that
the
happen.
door open all day long because we don't have any.
Yeah.
And then the neighbor just come passing by. That's something.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want that all day long, but a little conversation would be good.
Yeah.
And do you have any plans to move to the DR in the future, or would you move to the DR or retire over there?
Well, my parents used to actually say that we were going to move back to DR. When I was in high school, at one point, that was like the plan. That after, I graduated from high school or my sister graduated, whichever way it was, that we were going to move back to DR. So I was actually looking at, universities over there because that was the plan. But for whatever reason, it never ended up happening. So at this point, could I say that I would consider moving over there? Probably not. I don't know. I would have to have like a really good job or source of income lined up where I'm bringing in American dollars for me to consider moving over there. Um, and another thing is like the driving situation over there. I'm very independent. I drive myself everywhere. I don't need to depend on nobody for rides, and I'm like scared to drive over there. So I feel like that would be kind of limiting to me. But besides that, um, I would consider retiring there, once I'm older and stuff like that. Yeah, as long as I have like dollars coming in, I could live good over there. So yeah, at this point in my life, no, later on in my life though, I would consider it.
Okay, yeah, that's very nice. I'm considering that myself. I consider that good. But definitely, I need to have some U.S. dollar coming in. But definitely, I want to start retiring early. No way too late, but early. Okay, I hear you. You said you have your YouTube channel. Do you want to let people know how they can find you YouTube or any other social media that they can find you at?
Yeah, so the name of my YouTube channel is VivaBella by Xtina, and that's also my social media handle on all accounts. That is the name of my Instagram, my Twitter, even though I don't use my Twitter a whole lot because Twitter is still kind of confusing to me. And then I have a Facebook business page, which is also VivaBella by Xtina. So you can find me by that name on either one of those social media places, platforms.
Okay, and what type of content do you have in your channel?
So I began my channel as strictly as a makeup channel. My idea or my plan was just to do makeup tutorials, but over time my channel has evolved. My first non-makeup video was my ancestry DNA results video, and you know how those Dominican ancestry videos go viral. So that, kind of brought a lot more traffic to my channel. And then from there, I've started doing like, just more videos dedicated to Dominican culture. And then now I do a lot of like chatty videos where, I speak on certain subjects. I also have a little segment where, my viewers can request subjects for me to talk about. So I do that, and then I do vlogs here and there. So yeah, I do a little bit of everything because, you know, I know that I have both male and female viewers, so I don't want to be just doing makeup all the time. You know, I want stuff that like my male audience or even like my female audience that's not into makeup can enjoy. So yeah, I do a little bit of everything on my channel.
Okay, that's not. Going back, I don't know if I hear you say, do you think, when I ask you about, that's going back a question that I already asked you, but do you think that even women can find good Dominican men in the Dominican Republic?
Well,
I mean, talking about in the positive aspect.
I mean, my sister did it. My sister, she found her husband in DR. She's younger than me, actually. And yeah, she went over there one trip. She met a guy that she liked. They started talking, they started dating, and now they're married with twins. You know, she brought him over here on the K1 fiance visa. They got married, and she got lucky. She found herself a good one. Honestly, all of my, like the majority of my cousins that live here in Virginia, they've all done that. Both the males and the females. They've gone back to the yard and found their spouses. I'm like the only one that has not done that. And I hear it all the time. Like, go find yourself a man in DR. Like, just go look for one, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I'm always kind of like, I don't know. Because in the back of my mind, I would always have that fear that this guy is only with me because he wants to come to the United States. He only wants papers. Like, I don't know. That I just, if I were to go with a Dominican guy, I'd rather it be a guy that's already here. But I mean, I don't know. When it comes to dating, though, I'm pretty open. Like, the guy doesn't have to be Dominican. But yeah, as far as dating one that's over there, like I said earlier, I already tried the long distance thing, and I don't nobody got time. I'm not down with the long distance stuff anymore. Like, I need somebody here now. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've never done the long distance relationship, but I think that it can be very difficult or challenging. Would you
Yes.
say?
Yeah. Because you're always wondering what they're doing. Are they lying to me? Are they cheating on me? Where are they really at? Like, I don't want to deal with all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you on that one. And is something else that you would like to add to this interview, or something that?
Um, Not really. I mean, I would just like to say, you know, I think it's cool that, you know, as YouTubers that we can do these type of videos and that we can like collab with each other, even though we live in like totally different states, you know, even just being able to find just other like Dominican YouTubers and that we can talk about this type of stuff. I find it to be really cool. Like I always enjoy doing these type of video collabs, you know, with other YouTubers. So yeah, I think it's really cool. So yeah, I mean, just thank you for, you know, having me on your channel.
No, thank you for being here. And this was very good. I hope that we can do that. Can do this in another occasion, and then definitely do it in the Dominican Republic. We'll be there in December.
You should definitely do that.
We're gonna make that happen.
Yes.
All right, so guys, that is all what happened today. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also go and check Xtina's channel out. So until next time, I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Bye.